it's all on me. So what you wanna do? Tank full of gas, I'm just riding with my boo. It's only me and her, cause I'm whipping in the coupe. Heard you got the pudding, I just wanna see the proof. Oh, passenger side when I lane switch. Baby girl, it's nothing that I can't get. Ever heard of law of attraction? Out in California, so tell me what's bracket. We just seize in the moment. Up all night till it's 3 in the morning. Fly motherfucker, that's the reason you want me. You know if I hit it, I own it. Cause I might just knock it out the park, then deal. And I might just pull up in a brand new whip. And I might just pop a couple bottles in the bill. So baby, come and take a trip. Peace of rock, Hennessy, and it's all on me. Got a lot, what you need, and it's all on me. Caught my eye, you're all that I see, and it's all on me. We on top, yeah, baby, you and me, and it's all on me. So where you wanna go? Got a couple drinks, I can get a couple more. Know you wanna, so what else is there to know? I can take you high, or we can keep it low. It's my ignition when I lane switch. I know you ain't tripping on that lame chick. Girl, she ain't even that attractive. You know you look good, baby, you ain't gotta ask her. Winning, girl, you look kinda like Beyonce. Sipping, girl, I've been sipping on this Bombay. Kanye, baby, welcome to the life of Pablo. I ain't talking Escobar, I'm something like Picasso. I'm gone, knock it out the park, then deal. And I might just pull up in a brand new whip. And I might just pop a couple bottles in the bill. So baby, come and take a trip. Oh, piece of rock, Hennessy, and it's all on me. Got a lot, what you need, and it's all on me. Caught my eye, that I see, and it's all on me. We on top, yeah, baby, you and me, and it's all on me. Now I'm riding with my bro. Everything gon' 10, going to the mall. But shawty know I ball. Everything gon' spend, don't worry about receipts, baby. Everything you can keep, baby. We ain't taking nothing back. When you out with me, baby, everything is for free, baby. Cause we got it like that, yeah. Piece of rock, Hennessy, and it's all on me. Got a lot, baby. What you need, and it's all on me. Call my eye, that I see, and it's all on me. We on top, you and me, and it's all on me. Piece of rock, Hennessy, and it's all on me. Got a lot.
Bandwidth limit exceeded. To continue surfing, please call now and upgrade your package.
You know, we joke a lot, but the sad truth is you could hear this message very soon. Once again, your freedom is at risk. Big internet ISPs and the government are trying to take away more of your rights than usual. But you can do something about it.
That's right. It's super easy to do. Both of us went to battleforthenet.com today, and we made our voices heard. Battleforthenet.com has everything you need to know about the net neutrality movement, and it has everything.
We're sorry, your internet provider has deemed this content unsuitable for viewing in your area.
Go to battleforthenet.com.
Please make your voice heard. Make a difference.
You are receiving transmission the Midnight Spell at 13th Street.
Evening. My name is Alistair Expiravit, and for the last 86 years I've been the owner of this mansion. Within these walls, much has transpired. It's a very old house, after all. My great-great-grandmother, Theodosia, was burned alive for murder. Her son, Mortimer, my grandfather, was a wealthy but greedy man who took full advantage of those who weren't as well off. They say their bodies still beneath the floors of this old place, but I wouldn't know anything about that. Some call them murderers, witches, and even devils. I call them family. As I've ailed, I've come to realize that I must pass this on to those next in line. Come join the newest owners of my abode as they journey through these winding hallways, to try and unlock the secrets of the evil within man. The ones from the other side. The visitors from the darkness. Welcome.
Welcome to the Midnight Spook House. For tonight's show, we're in the foyer, where we'll be discussing 3 personal paranormal stories that came to us from someone who'd rather remain anonymous. So won't you stay a while as we discuss all ends of the paranormal spectrum?
Mass UFO sighting.
Now this creature is said to prowl the swamps.
Everything is a lie.
Becomes more transparent and then finally disappears.
They're a lot closer than we've been thinking. It is 2018. And it is
Hard to believe.
and it is Friday night. Isn't it hard to believe? How did this happen to us?
Time. It's on slipping.
It does. We talked about that the other day, and Seal and I believe it was Steve Miller knew exactly what they were talking about.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So, a new season, a new introduction, and Ryan.
Yes.
All right. Should we call this season 2?
That sounds good to me. I think season 1 was it was a good trial season, but I'm pretty proud of it.
Agree.
I think it's worthy of season 1.
Yeah, I think so. It's it's funny because do you ever expect to have a season 2?
No, never.
We never
We've
did.
come a lot further than I thought we ever would.
Yeah. I mean, we're cool and all, but we're not that cool. Maybe we are. All right, so Megan is with us tonight.
Hello.
Hello, Megan. And Ryan. Okay, I thought someone would go a little further there, but all right. Let's.
So where are we tonight? We're in the foyer.
We
of,
are.
Of the Midnight Spook House. It's
There's an
kinda
alternative pronunciation of that, which is
The foyer.
the foyer.
Oh.
Yes. I didn't really know which way to go,
We
just
are
if
the
I'm being
fans here.
honest. I didn't know which way to go about it, so. Yeah, we're in the foyer, and it is the entrance to this big mansion. And it's spooky, right? Our new our new house is quite large, so I can imagine we're going to be doing a lot of shows within these walls, and I'm pretty excited about it. So Ryan, tell us a little bit what's to come. What do we do here for those who are new?
So for anybody new that's just joining us tonight, I hope we've got some new listeners. If so, welcome. As you've probably seen advertised, we're all about paranormal talk and analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And paranormal, that includes ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, anything that goes bump in the night and creeps you out. So we can get pretty scientific in here, kind of philosophical, sometimes weird.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's really important that we involve listeners. We do it for us a little bit because it's fun, but you know what? It's mostly for all of you guys because we like your stories and your comments. And if you come in the chat room during a show, we'll interact with you. We will, because
Absolutely.
we're just hanging out. That's what we do here. This isn't like, we try to do good on production, but there will be dead air here and there. There will be awkwardness. It just is what it is.
Thanks to yours truly, I'll provide plenty of awkwardness.
It's true. A lot of it's going to be Megan. But seriously, if you'd come on, you tell us your story. We won't tell people who you are if you don't want them. I mean, you can literally speak and not say who you are, and we will never tell because we're those kind of people.
Sometimes it's hard to share your story. Sometimes
It is, yeah.
we'll hear a little more about that tonight because we've got some anonymous stories submitted to us. But yeah, some people, it can make their lives a living hell. If they're
Mm-hmm.
it gets out to their employers or friends or whatever that they've experienced some paranormal things.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever be free of that bad stigma that goes along with it.
That's it.
But
I don't know.
Surely eventually, once everybody has an experience, then that stigma should go away, right?
Once we've explored all of the rooms of the spook house and
Yeah.
have proven that paranormal things are real, we're gonna solve some mysteries.
Yeah, rewrite history. You knew I had to say it. Come on. We have to say it. All right.
Spook tales. Ooh.
So all that being said, and just so the new listeners can get an idea of about ourselves and what kind of makes us tick, what corners of the paranormal world interest you the most?
Well, I kind of came in thinking spirits and ghouls and things like that. Which I guess, now I'm like, I don't know. I kind of think aliens are cool. No, I'm joking. I don't think any are cooler, but I guess I'll still lean towards ghosts and goblins and things like that, personally. Now, what about you?
Yeah, I think the more we talk about and the more we ask why and question these things, I think your tastes kind of evolve.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Originally started your paranormal journey as. But I'm still big into aliens. I think there's something out there. The truth is out there.
It is out there.
So that's my primary interest. I'm also really into cryptids. I think the fact that Bigfoot is still the reigning hide and seek champion after all this time is kind of fascinating.
Yeah. Well, how can you not? You have people talking about Bigfoot, and there's so many documentaries about Bigfoot on Netflix right now.
When's it gonna happen?
When's it gonna happen? Somebody's gonna do it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It has to, right? At least
what
you would
about
think.
you, Megan? What are your paranormal interests?
Well, I'm definitely into a lot of the conspiracy theories, paranormal, and most of the time from the past. But I'm also very curious about aliens and cryptids.
Go ahead. I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was giving you a little sass.
As if you'd be sassy ever.
I am not a sassy individual. I would never sass.
I was going to ask if you were a flat earther or something, but
oh God, no.
She's a person hole coverer.
That is true.
We literally, before the show, we looked at a picture, and it was a picture of Snape, and it was Snape, and then a menorah, and then a salt shaker, and then Bobby Hill, and then a lime. And she couldn't figure it out. And I was like, Snape, menorah. And then she thought it was Salt My Bobby Lime. I was like, it's clearly shake. How is salt
it was
a
just
shake?
Salt. It wasn't shaking.
Said salt shaker. She needed an animated GIF is the point. She's not dumb. She's really not. She's very smart. Ish. I'm joking. Okay. All right, let's get to some news. We do this, but this is who we are. Let's get to some news. Ryan, fire one at us first.
All right. So, do you guys remember the mystery of Tabby's star? Or when I say Tabby's star, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so back in 2011, scientists thought they discovered what could potentially be an alien megastructure built around a star, otherwise known as, some people might know that as a Dyson sphere.
Ooh, a Dyson sphere. That makes me hungry.
So
the brand of it, Go ahead.
So the way this, if you're familiar with the way we discover distant planets, everything is pretty uniform about our method for discovering planets. We wait for the planet itself to pass through the light of its star, and then we collect data.
Aren't we romantic like that? We just wait our turn. We step aside. I unmuted you so you could laugh. That's I love it. Go ahead. See?
So with Tabby's star, something funny was going on with the light. It was fluctuating in a very bizarre manner.
Right.
To suggest that, some kind of big structure was moving around the star, and it was not resembling a planet. So people kind of ran with the whole Dyson sphere thing, or this is like an alien megastructure, but apparently they've figured it out, and it is not that exciting. So
you're a bummer. You're that guy tonight.
I hate to have I'm the bummer guy tonight.
We're trading out this year. It's all you. You get to be the bummer this year, not me.
The debunker. I
Yeah.
guess.
You now, whenever it was me, I wasn't the debunker. I was the bad news guy. Now we're calling it debunk. I want to be that guy. All right. You can be him this year.
That's me.
Merry Christmas.
So it turns out that it is a dust cloud that's obstructing the light. And
I'm seeing all kinds of vacuum cleaner commercials pop up.
So now, wait a second. A dust cloud has potential to be a new sun, though, right?
Well, it's orbiting a star right now, so
it could be a planet.
Right. This could be a solar system in its infancy.
Right.
I mean, that's still really interesting. It's not the Dyson sphere.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm just saying, if you were here for news of an alien race being discovered in deep space, I don't have that for you.
Not
However,
tonight. Not yet.
If you are, fascinated with the universe and NASA's projects, this is still very fascinating.
It is.
We're getting a picture of a very young galaxy potentially.
We're going to cover some space stuff in the news tonight. We are.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing a NASA shirt tonight.
I just want to say, you love to crush our dreams, Ryan.
You do.
I don't love to. That was mostly Dale last year.
No.
That was all you, buddy.
No, it wasn't all him. It was me. It was pretty much all me. I'll take the blame. I was Toby from The Office last year. I did. I took Star Child. I took a lot of things. I feel really guilty the more that I think about it. Well, that's not bad news. That's his point. It's not terrible news. It's just not good news.
It's still interesting. It's just, like if you came here looking for aliens, we don't have any for you yet.
It's like diving in some Doritos, but it's off-brand. They're still okay.
Yeah.
They're still promise.
Are we back to the Equate brand?
We are. Walmart brand products. We are. Sponsored by Great Value. Not exactly. That's probably most of what we drink, though, during the show. Great Value brand. Go ahead. Now, Megan, you have some pretty cool news. Were you finished, Ryan? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, not that exciting paranormal-wise, but, if you're into space, pretty cool stuff going on.
Yeah, potentially cool. All right, Megan, you have something pretty neat. I know because I found it.
So I have an article talking about some confusion surrounding a U.S. Secret UFO program. Government officials have been offering conflicting answers to questions about the program's objectives. Known as the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, the $22 million project reportedly ran from 2007 to 2012 and was founded to investigate military sightings of unidentified flying objects. When contacted by the Sun Online, however, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency seemed to suggest that there had been some misunderstandings about the program and its goals. There is some confusion about this program and the claims that its purpose in press reporting. The DIA has not released any information, files, or videos, said a spokesperson. The Department of Defense, meanwhile, moved to play down the DIA's comments by insisting that they had in fact been clear about the program's goals and that there was no confusion. The AATIP's mandate, when it existed, was to assess far-term foreign advanced aerospace threats to the United States, said a DoD spokesman. So why are two different government agencies offering up conflicting information on the topic? It does seem to me like they might be backtracking, said ufologist Alejandro Rojas. They haven't clarified exactly what the confusion is, but I'm not surprised that they are scrambling over it now.
I have a couple of quick things to say. DIA, DOD, that's more what I'm concerned with. What does all that mean?
The Defense Intelligence Agency, and then the Department of Defense.
All right,
and those are both, again, talking about the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program.
Jesus, that is so overwhelming. But beyond that, it's like, are you really surprised that you're getting different answers? Like, You could ask two employees who sit side by side in the government, and they would give you two different answers.
Absolutely.
So this is not surprising to me at all. And what does it mean? I think that's the real question, right? What does it mean? Does it mean what we want it to, or maybe not want it to?
Well,
I think it just confirms that someone out there is interested in the government.
Agreed, yeah.
And
not
there,
as, showcase as they would like, to openly, publicly say.
Right. Yeah, there's always that barrier, and we're not going to get past it. We're always going to get surface answers.
right.
So, unfortunately,
They just
that's where
wanna-
we are.
Whitewash it all.
Yeah. Well, guess what, though?
What is it?
The U.S. isn't the only ones making leaps towards moon stuff and space stuff.
Moon stuff.
Yeah. China set to visit the far side of the moon.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
We all know what's on the far side of the moon.
The ambitious mission, if successful, will achieve what no other country's ever managed to do. There have been dozens of missions to the moon over the years, but the far side, which is always facing from the Earth, remains mostly unexplored. Now, in a renewed bid to become the first country ever to land on the far side in space, China is aiming to launch 2 spacecraft later this year, one with the lander itself and the other with communication satellite that will relay signals to and from the Earth, known collectively as, I'm going to say Change 4, and then say that it's a typo in the article. Change 4, after the Chinese moon goddess. The mission represents something of a world's first and will catapult China into the history books as a global leader in lunar exploration. That'll be launching in June, by the way.
Is this a manned mission or is it like the Mars rovers?
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 It's the Mars rovers.
It's been a while since I've done this. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's me too. I mean, I'm definitely tripping over words, but they're talking about the lander and a satellite, so I'm willing to say probably not. At least not at first. That'd be dangerous.
It's actually like a rover.
Right. It'd be very dangerous to just be like, all right, let's just go see.
Well, they're bragging about a whole lot of nothing, I feel like.
Well, they haven't done it yet. Let's wait and see.
I guess
I don't
that's
feel like
true.
it's bragging. I think they're just like, hey, we're going to do this. And everybody else
But
is
it's more
bragging.
like, hey, we're going to do this because you haven't.
Well, that's just the way it's kind of presented in articles around the web. It doesn't make it true.
Isn't that why we went to the moon?
That's absolutely, yeah, we had a date
but that
and we
was-
went.
Show that we can.
Yeah.
That was what, 40-some years ago?
You've got until this date on what, 1969 or 1970 was it? And they made it
Yeah.
like right before. Funny how that works, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Stanley Kubrick really did it.
He sure did.
I'm just kidding.
That's it. Well, I think that's cool. I can't wait to see what comes back. It's good to know that other agencies out there, and it's, I mean, come on, like, even if NASA's not doing it, you've got Russia, and they're huge on this stuff, and then obviously China.
Yeah.
So it's cool, and they kind of work together, unlike the governments.
Yeah. Now,
It's funny. It seems like that's the only facet of government where we really do get along.
It's true.
yeah.
Which is weird because that's one of the most buried, hidden ones when it comes to some of the facts. It's so strange, isn't it? It's like, hey, we like each other, but you can't know how much we know. That sucks.
Right.
All jokes aside, I'm really anticipating finding out, I guess if they are, what's the word?
I'm not sure.
Upfront and honest about what's there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see video footage of the far side of the moon.
Yeah.
Because if you've listened before, you know that I kind of have a fascination with what could be there.
It's going to completely undo Pink Floyd's album Dark Side of the Moon.
Ah.
No one will longer smoke pot to it. Everyone will
I think
read books beside it. I don't know what they'll do, but they won't smoke weed.
there's
to it.
a common misconception I think a lot of people have is that it's always shrouded in darkness,
Mhm.
the far side of the moon, but
It's just away from us, right?
Yeah, so there are actually times where it does get sunlight.
It's just we can't see it. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you're splitting hairs, I guess. But truth be told, yeah, it's not always the dark side of the moon. It's just To us,
Right.
we just can't see it. That's like saying it outside is the dark side of the wall because we can't see through the wall, you know?
I have to tell you guys, I got into an argument the other day.
Pink Floyd album, The Wall.
No, I got into an argument the other day because somebody told me that Japan and China can see the other side of the moon and we can't.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're on Earth, aren't they? Isn't that a thing?
I mean,
Are these other planets or China?
I tried to explain what tidally locked meant, and they're like, no. It twists around so they can see the other side and they never see our side.
I don't think that's true.
No, it's not true.
I'm of the flat Earth theory, but I don't think that's true. No, I'm joking. I'm not. But for the record.
Are you one of those, the moon's really spinningers?
Yeah.
Spinningers.
Yeah. That moon's out there just spinning away.
Woo.
That's the southern in me. I can't get past it. I'm joking. All right, well, that was some cool space stuff.
Yeah.
So we got an intro by a really creepy old dude who gave us this place we're in, and we got a lot of space news. Doesn't everybody go to somebody's house and sit down and talk about news?
Yeah.
We
That's
do.
what I want to do.
Well, that's what we're doing, Ryan.
Let's talk about space. Drop all the small talk. Let's talk space.
Let's talk space. All right, well, I'll tell you what. We have some really cool paranormal stories submitted by someone who would like to remain anonymous. And to be honest, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who aren't respectful, they aren't considerate, and they're definitely not open-minded. And those are bad when you put those things together. So let's take a little break here. And when we come back, let's have some stories, shall we? Everyone cool with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, all right. We shall return. Megan's not been herself lately. I don't know what's wrong. It's like she's combusted or something. She'll say something and then all of a sudden she's not even here anymore. What can I do? Do you know someone who's combusted? Do you fear you may? Is that what happens to John Cena? Seriously though, we shouldn't make fun. We're interested in why this happens and would love to hear your take on it. So come join us every Friday night at midnight on Spook House Radio.
Listen up, you brainless boob. Do you enjoy talking about 80s action figures and toys? Perhaps your favorite is the Snake Mountain playset. If that's the case, tune into the Retro After Dark radio show. For more details, check show times at midnightspookhouse.com. It's one you won't want to miss, you pea-brain nitwit.
You're listening to Spook House Radio on Spreaker and MidnightSpookhouse.com. And we have returned. Megan is still with us currently, but anything can happen.
Listen, that was a sneak attack, and I was not expecting it.
I got a funny look for that one, to say the very least. Very funny
I
look.
didn't combust, oh no.
No. Oh, you're okay. Well, you know what? Every once in a great while, someone trusts us with their stories. And we do make a lot of really, really lowbrow jokes around here, but let us not joke about when we say we appreciate that, and we will keep that anonymous, and we appreciate it. We thank everyone who's willing to share like their personal stories, because that's sharing something that's personal to you. I know when we talk about it, we still kind of remain guarded, Ryan and I. It's hard to get through that and just to trust, especially when it's a sea of listeners that you don't know.
Right.
So I just really want to say we really appreciate that. I wanted to set that up, and I'll let Ryan kind of guide us into it, if you'd like.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just wanted to add to that. If you want to submit a story to us through the webpage, just let us know what you'd like us to refer to you by.
Mm-hmm.
And if you forget to do that, we're just going to assume that you wanted to remain anonymous. So
Right, we'll assume that instead of assume that it's cool we give out your email address.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the way to assume. So.
On the other side, if you want to say, hey, it was me, guys, we'll let you tell your story yourself.
Yeah, you can come on and be loud and proud with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
More proud than us, I promise you that. We're very ashamed after every episode of what we've done. All right, Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, so
what we've got here tonight are 3 stories that were submitted to us by a close friend of mine, and he asked that we keep him anonymous because he's experienced some backlash from his family and friends over the years for sharing these stories. He's even gotten some unwanted attention from some people claiming to be from other paranormal internet sites and just wanting to hear his stories. But
people will exploit anything for material.
Yeah. But he said that was a pretty sketchy situation. So he definitely wants to avoid that. So he told me when he gave me the stories that he knows that these sound unbelievable, and honestly they sound pretty crazy. So he feels that that's why he's gotten the unwanted attention for them. So as we were saying in the beginning, there's a stigma attached to this stuff.
There is.
So, but he's listening to the show tonight. I spoke to him earlier today, and he's excited to hear this stuff too. So he told us, he trusts us, and he said that we sound like an open-minded group and not prone to judge. So
we appreciate that. We really try to be we are very non-judgmental folk, but to sound that way sometimes it's kind of hard. To like have someone trust you without being able to see your reaction. So I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you again for writing in and sharing with us.
All right, so let's dive into these things. We've
Let's
got 3 stories he's given us, and I figure, let's see, why don't we each read one of these?
Okay.
I'll go ahead and take the first one. So,
sounds good.
All right.
Megan nor I have read these, so it will be our first time to read them. Okay, for the record.
Okay.
So
here we go. So my first paranormal encounter happened when I was 8 or 9 years old. So that would make it the year 1987 or 88 or so. I was hiking with my dad, and I'll just say in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Like I said, this stuff seems pretty unbelievable, even to be writing it out now, and I don't want any attention brought to me. So there's that again. We'd been doing some sightseeing, of course, and taking some pictures of plants and wildlife. And we came to a clearing surrounded by forest on all sides, and everything was quiet. I remember feeling pretty weird about the place, like you'd gone somewhere your parents had asked you not to. My dad said it was because everything was quiet. There was no bird sounds or anything. So we're just looking around, and just as he starts to turn to walk back, a black bear comes running out of the woods across the clearing in front of us, going in a straight line from one side of the clearing to the other. Paying no attention at first, I was in awe, but the bear was running weird, like it wasn't really a casual sort of gallop. It was like it was trying to get somewhere in a hurry, like in a full sprint. Out of the woods, in the air, behind it comes this black triangle. It was small, like someone's kite you'd see it back in the day on the beach, but no strings or anything in sight. There were no other people, and there was no noise. We were far off, but not so far that you wouldn't hear like the buzzing of an engine, like it was a remote control plane. Now, remember he said that this was back in 87 or 88, so there were no such thing as drones or anything like that. But the strangest thing about it was how black it was. Like you couldn't see any details on this thing. No sunshine reflected off of it. I mean, it was solid black, like absence of light black. It flew halfway across the clearing and did a perfect U-turn. I mean, like on a dime, no wide turning or anything, and flew right back into the woods on the opposite side. I threw up my camera and took a picture, but I had reacted too slow, I guess out of fear. So all I have is an unremarkable picture of a bear just about to enter the woods on the other side of the clearing. I can share it with you if I find it, but like I said, it's just a picture of a bear, so it's pretty unremarkable.
Wow.
So what do you guys make of that? So
that's terrifying, down to the bear even.
Yeah.
Not to make a joke, but bears are terrifying in the wild.
They are.
So, wow.
It sounds like this bear is terrified himself.
It does. That's kind of what I took from it.
So to kind of recap, he and his dad come across this clearing, and then they see a bear just dart out of the woods.
Right.
But it looks like some kind of object is chasing it in the air.
That's and we've heard stories about the triangular shapes and things. What was it? What was the incident?
Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah, that's it. Where those guys from the military base were out in the woods and they saw that triangular object. So absolutely, some familiarity with that already.
Yeah.
And then you take that you're out in the woods, and that's when it always happens. It's never like where you can have like your home camera set up and you can get pristine video. It's always like that, and I don't mean that at all in the negative way. It's almost like they know that you're more susceptible. You're in more of a position to be at their will if they were to choose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
So they say, it's kind of hardwired into us to fear the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's more to that than just, your everyday predator,
Yeah, maybe it's more than what we see in horror movies. Maybe there really is something to it. I don't know.
Well, and how often do you hear of a bear running in fear from something? That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even picture in my head like I can see in my mind's eye like a bear running, but I've never seen a bear just like hauling ass to
Right.
get away from something.
I mean, I've seen a bear like cross a highway and he was booking it pretty good, but at the same time, he kind of looked like he was casual about it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine a bear
How do you
being
imagine a bear
fearful.
being
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bears are usually that dun 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 dun, where they're kind of just kind of gracefully hopping away. It's not a fearful run.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a bear run scared from anything, even in movies. Maybe. You know?
That's pretty wild.
So,
And
talking
animals are
about
sensitive.
object-
We've discussed that a lot. I believe animals are very sensitive. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
no, it's true. Absolutely. That's true too. I was going to mention the object again. So in my head, when I read the story, I kind of pictured almost like a two-dimensional triangle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where he described it as sort of a kite-like
Yeah.
object, and kind of small too.
Well, and if it's so black that you can't see any reflection, you couldn't tell if it had sides, like to see
Right.
it
I mean,
like
yeah.
pyramid style.
Yeah, it very well could have been like a pyramid. Like he said, it just appeared as a black triangle to him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He said the same sort of thing to me in person when he described it too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
I don't know. It's interesting because he described it to me as like a small craft. Like this would be too small for any, like person to be riding in.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like almost like a drone of some sort.
I've
You don't
heard that
really-
about at the Roswell crash. Whenever they'll describe the craft, we'll say it was small, and at the Rendlesham Forest incident, it was small.
Hmm.
It's just, and they were. I'm not sure the one at Roswell was actually triangular, but the point is, we've always heard these little green men, and it's just adding up more and more. So where did the little green men concept come from? Did someone see one? Why would we just assume? If we were going to assume there were monsters in space, wouldn't they be more like Cthulhu or something in our minds?
Yeah.
Why would we have these people-ish small things that, I don't think we would create that ourselves.
Right.
I think we would go big. We are America after all. We go big whenever we come up with concepts for things.
But at the
That's
same
terrifying.
We don't want anything to be bigger than us, though. So maybe that has something to do with it too.
Well, Bigfoot is, but they don't talk about that either, so whatever.
So, any more thoughts on that story?
Well, lots, but I guess we should probably readdress this when we get to a show more on the alien side of things. If that's okay with your friend, we'll never bring it up and expose anything that we haven't already tonight, but I can see this coming back up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I know this is not something I would have the chance to do, but I would love to know if if your friend ever revisited that area.
Absolutely. It's a good point.
I did ask him that in person, and he said no, that he's never been back, but he would totally be willing to go.
Does he think he could find the place again? I mean, he's got the picture with the bear.
We'd love to see that picture, for the record.
Yeah, he said he was going to look for it, and if he can find it, he's going to give it to us to put on the webpage.
Awesome.
So he said, it's pretty much just a bear's ass like, disappearing into the woods.
Who doesn't want to see a bear's ass?
It's true.
I mean, I'm pretty interested to see it anyway.
Yeah.
But he said just like he said that the feeling was strange. It's like you finally snap to and you're like, oh shit, I should take a picture of this, but it was like you reacted way too slow or something. It's like by the time you snapped out of it, it was already over.
And is that paranormal? Because when things like this happen, you blame fear, but that's like blaming love on chemicals. There's something greater to fear. It's within your soul, like love. Can they control that? If that's what it was.
I don't know. It sounds like their target was the bear.
I think the bear was just wrong place, wrong time.
I don't know.
One of those ain't nobody got time for that situations. Nope,
Maybe.
I'm out. Bears don't like aliens gone. You know how like cats are whenever somebody knocks on the door. It's that situation. An alien knocked and the bear was gone. Yep. And I'd hate to say alien. I guess that's not fair. But it was an alien object in this situation.
We can at least say that, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
well,
I don't know. There could be black triangular ghosts for all we know, but
that's true.
I would tend to label this as an alien sort of encounter.
Yeah, as far as what we know so far, I can definitely agree. It leans in that direction. All right.
Would you like to read the next one? I think it's kind of up your alley.
Yeah, this next one, I haven't read it, I promise, but I kind of browsed. I have to kind of skim the words to see where we're at and things like that. And I think this one looks like her. Ryan recommended it for you. I think we're go. If you want to read this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So this next one, I really don't know how to classify it. I was camping again with my dad up at one of the touristy campsites in the mountains of Virginia. We had tents for my brothers and I, but it was chilly that night, so we all decided to stay in my grandparents' camper, and they decided to head back home since it wasn't far for them. At some point in the night, I woke up suddenly, like being startled out of a dream. I was wide awake, and I remember looking around below me and seeing my dad and brothers in their sleeping bags in different parts of the camper after my eyes adjusted. Something made me want to look outside. I don't know, just a feeling. I went to the porthole in the kitchen area and looked out at the campsite to see someone outside messing around the fire pit. I started to run to my dad, but something froze me. I think it was when I realized how strange it looked. Whatever the hell this was looked like a naked old man, but only 3 or 4 feet tall. Really small proportions. He was bald, but had a normal-sized head, and I vividly remember a wrinkle on the back of his skull, just kind of like hanging and bobbing like he had too much skin there or something. He was just kind of wandering around and looking at things, cocking his head like, what is this? He did that to each of the tents, just sort of looked them over. After he rounded the 3rd tent, that's when I saw his face. His jaw was scrunched, like an old man with no teeth, no nose, and his eyes seemed too far apart. He had no genitalia that I could see, since those that I've shared with this always seem to ask that. His body almost seemed like a latex suit, but too big and droopy. I remember praying harder than I'd ever prayed for anything in my life that he wouldn't see me in the window, and as he was walking toward the camper, lucky for me, he didn't. He walked right past the door, and I noticed he stopped. He did cock his head tilted at the camera and then walked on out of sight. I stood there looking at the empty campsite for another minute and then was able to move again as if some force had released me. I slumped down next to my dad and he put his arm around me in his sleep. I didn't want to go back to my sleeping bag since I'd had to move in the same direction that thing went, even though I was inside. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. and I remember praying again as the morning light crept in that it would come faster. For the next few nights after we went back home, I still couldn't sleep. Not until I'd become dead tired, exhausted, and just passed out. Took me a while to get over it, and I haven't thought about it for a long time. I just told myself it was some crazy old man wandering around. I don't like to think too much about what else it could have been.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, I don't even know what to think about
So where
that.
are we on that one, guys?
What the hell was that?
Yeah. You know what? Even if it was just a creepy old man, that's still terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, what was he doing there? I don't know. I don't buy creepy old man. I'm not saying that I should or shouldn't. I don't mean it like that.
Well,
I just mean all the description, it seems alien meets who knows,
I don't know.
which is
I don't know what
freaky.
I'm thinking like goblin or something in my head.
Yeah, like the Hopkinsville goblins. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Something like that with the skin hanging off the back of its head. That's so weird.
Well, in the tiny proportions, because even little people, their proportions aren't normal.
Right.
Or I don't really know the right way to say that. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're not saying it disrespectfully. You're trying to put it into some sort of, I don't know, terms. But what do you think about it? Put yourself in his situation. Do you react any differently? I probably would have ran.
Terrifying.
Yes, I mean, my God.
I mean, that'd be terrifying just to see anybody. You wake up in the night and you see any kind of stranger
Yeah.
messing around the camp.
That's absolutely the truth. Yeah. I mean, it could have been a mammal, from the camp next door, and you're like, why are you naked walking around? Like, seriously, like, this is not right in some way.
Right.
But it probably
could have been,
Right. It almost feels like you're, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it almost feels like you're violated.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that situation. It's like they come into your bubble and something is very wrong. It's like the uncanny valley thing all over again. There's something wrong and you can sense it. Your animal instincts kick in.
Right.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't even know what to. I don't know. I can't really classify that as cryptid or. That's just a really creepy, unwanted experience.
Yeah.
Unwanted. That's definitely fair to say, I think.
This story, just reading it, has left me feeling uncomfortable. And I used to be a huge fan of camping, so I don't think I want to do that anymore.
So is this by any chance the same campsite? Is it near where the other occurrence was?
This one, he said, was in the Virginia Mountains. The other one's the Blue Ridge Park.
Oh, that's right.
Or the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm not sure if those go into Virginia or not.
Well, at this point, he has 3 stories. You have to wonder, does he have some sensitivity to these things to where they're like, if they go in his area, is there something they're hoping to accomplish by appearing to him?
I asked him that, and if he's ever experienced anything else, and he told me that these 3 stories are pretty much all he's ever really experienced.
I just wonder if there was any reason, like any emphasis on these 3 things, like why him? Why 3 things? I guess I've had 2 or 3, to be fair, so I guess we could ask ourselves the same questions here, couldn't we?
I think everybody gets at least one.
Well, not everybody. Megan's not.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. She's
I don't
not.
want one. But I gotta say, the first 2, at least, I haven't heard this 3rd story, but it sounds like they're unaware of him, at least. So that's guess,
true.
Good for him.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. In that situation, you don't want to be noticed.
Right. That's absolutely true. All right. If everybody's good on that one for now. That one's probably the one, unless this one is somehow even creepier in a really weird way. That one put me in a weird place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel uncomfortable,
I
like I
think
said.
that one's going to stick with me.
Yeah.
All right. This one is short and sweet, he says. After my uncle had passed when I was 16, I was at the funeral home for services. And I hate to say it now, but I wasn't close to him, so it felt like I was there for ages. We all know how that goes, so. Eventually, I got around to exploring the place. You could tell it had been an old house before and had been converted into a funeral home. I made my way upstairs to an empty room with a window, and I looked around in there for a second. It was just an empty room. It could have been a bedroom back in the day, I guess. Anyway, while I had my back turned, I heard a loud bang behind me. I thought, oh God, something has caught me up here. I turned and there was no one there. I didn't do that for emphasis, actually. I was reading ahead, so I didn't skip over words. I thought it'd be best to get back to the family, so I ran across the room, but as I passed the window, I saw a handprint on the outside of the glass. I stopped and looked at it for a second and noticed that it had started raining, but the rain was running around it like it was fresh. I bolted out of there and right to the comfort of my family.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little more on this. I asked him more about this, and he said that was like on a 3rd story level of this funeral home.
Yikes.
And it looked like he had trouble describing it, I guess, but it looked like if you pressed your hand on a window and then like sprayed water, like I guess the oils of your hand and your skin,
yeah,
like you would see that, you know.
That's sort of what I was envisioning. Yeah,
that's how he tried to describe it.
Wonder if there's any chance that maybe one of the people who lived there before a child or something was just like playing around the window and maybe had touched the outside and it had always been there. They'd had something on their hand. I'm not trying to debunk it at all. I'm just curious.
No, I mean, that's a logical explanation for it. He did say that it was like an adult's hand.
Well, maybe they were working and painting a room and, you know, they had plaster or something. They were doing something and they had just touched the outside and that's all that was left after the years. Again, I'm just offering some explanation. I don't think that'll help him sleep any better at night if he still thinks about it, though.
I just wonder about the he said a bang in the story, but the way he described it to me in person was like somebody smacked the window.
Oh,
and that's really the only reason why he mentioned this story.
That's the story. It's worth mentioning for sure.
Yeah, that's what made it remarkable to him is because it sounded like somebody slapped the glass from the outside.
Yikes.
So that's the significance of that one.
You know, when you think about things like that, again, it comes back to, it seems like it was trying to get his attention. Now, it may be completely unrelated to the other things he went through, but I wonder if it was someone saying, get out of this room, I'm still here, or, you know, someone in the other side of things saying, this is my house, why are you in it? You know, we've talked about that before, all the dimensions, possibly the multiverse, all these different ideas we've got. And
maybe it was, you know, like you're being disrespectful by not like staying with the funeral.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was someone, a spirit at the funeral home saying, get back down there. This isn't right.
Or, you know, what if somebody had been outside and saw him come in, like the split time kind of thing, and like smack the window to tell him, hey, get out of there. You know, if they're outside and they can't talk to you, that'd be the way to tell you to get out. Smack that window.
Well, 3rd story though.
I know.
Climb the house to do it.
Guy was working on the roof. Yeah, I don't know.
We're stretching now, but we're offering things. No, I mean, you're right. You're not wrong. Seems unlikely, but not impossible, certainly. Either way, it would scare me. Go ahead, Ryan.
The only thing I can't explain is the bang on the glass. But yeah, I think your explanation of, you know, maybe somebody touched that years ago. Because, I mean, in an old house kind of situation, how often do you get up there to, you know, wash the outside of the 3rd story windows?
Especially when it's a funeral home. I'm sure they don't go upstairs and polish everything.
Right. So, and that could have been a sound from another room. You know, you never know.
It's true. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like you said, it could be a sound from another room. It could be someone working. There's a lot of things it could have been, but put yourself in the scenario and you never forget that. Yeah.
For the record, I didn't mean somebody working at the time. I meant like ghostly seeing him in there. I don't know. Sorry. I didn't.
No. You did say another dimension, I think. But I was just thinking like, what are the odds they'd be on the outside of the house? But it's true. In another, you know, because we assume ghosts are in your house. What if they're outside on the property? You know, what if it was like, what are you doing? And I just went up to the 3rd window and was like, get out.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
Could be.
Yeah. Wow, I'm sorry these things happened to you.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else to say.
I mean, for all of this to make me feel as uncomfortable as it does, I can't imagine being the person telling these stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear... Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, if you had to take one of these stories and it was going to happen to you, which would you choose?
Well, I've had kind of the first and third myself already. What's that?
I can tell you which one I would not want to experience firsthand would be the campsite one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me too. I suppose I would take the first one. I've kind of had that one happen to me, and I've had the third one-ish as well. So yeah. I would take the first one. I think that would just... It would almost give guys like us hope. It'd be like, you know what? Maybe there's something out there and we know it, which we do. But it would offer you that glimmer of hope even more. So I think people like us would almost enjoy that, even though it's scary. It is. I'm not trying to deduct from what he must have felt. It is scary, but it's also kind of cool when you look back. At least mine was, and I think Ryan feels the same way.
Right.
So yeah, I would take the first one. Megan, probably the first one.
Yeah, definitely the bear.
The second one, I'm gonna feel weird about for the rest of the weekend. So
yeah, definitely.
That's one.
That person violated everyone.
Think about it. Yeah, try not to think about it when you lay down tonight.
Yeah, we have spooky stories, but it's gonna be hard to top that. That's really creepy. Yeesh. All right. Well, I mean, is there more to say, Ryan? I know that you know them personally, and what? Tell us, are they the kind of person to scare easily?
No, and I'm not going to say too much about their personality.
Definitely, agreed, yeah.
Because I think if you know me in person, if I say too much, my other friends would probably be able to figure out who this was. So, but I do believe them. They're not the type of person to just make up stuff like this. I do believe that they're the kind of person that would rather take this sort of thing to the grave with them than anybody about it. I mean, they were not only did he actually verbally tell me that, but you kind of get a sense of that from his personality as well. So I do believe this accounts.
It doesn't feel exaggerated, you know. It feels like situations you can see yourself in.
Right.
You know, if something like paranormal were to happen to you. So I don't know them for the record, folks, but I definitely feel like these are true stories. And, you know, we're not big doubters of people who are willing to write in anyway, but we're also going to be honest if we think we're just being, being hoaxed or whatever. So awesome. Thank you so much for trusting us with those. And we hope we did them justice. If we said anything to make you feel bad, we're sorry. We apologize. We're just blown away. Really creepy stuff. And we're, again, sorry. That's awful. The second one especially. Jesus.
Well, we do want to see that bear, though. So
we do. The bear's behind, please.
If you're listening, see if you can find that for us.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. So we're doing something new tonight. We've got a new idea, and it's not earth-shattering or groundbreaking exactly, but we're going to do a new series that's called Worst Case Scenarios. So, Ryan, what is Worst Case Scenarios exactly?
I think the term worst case scenario sums it up pretty well.
It does, but what are we doing with it?
So, we are going to talk about...
Are we going to cause it, or are we going to talk about it? What are we going to do with it?
We're going to take a different example each week and kind of dive into each other's minds and see, you know, how specifically you may deal with that particular situation.
Yeah, that's
whether that be, a nuclear war or a creepy old naked man goblin raiding your campsite. What would you do in that situation?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. What would you do if a worst case scenario happened? And we've got a few. If you guys would like to write in and give us some ideas for some, we have a list, but it's not very long thus far. What if cats took over is not on the list yet. If you insist, we'll do that. And that was Megan. That wasn't me. My voice can't quite do that, but So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take on number 1, which probably should be the first one we all talk about. Sadly. All right, we'll be right back. Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever heard voices? Maybe you know someone who has. If you're afraid to share your story, there's not always an outlet, and sometimes it's scary. But don't worry about being judged. Come and hang out with us at Spook House Radio, and we'd love to hear your story. Write us an email or come hop in chat. We go live every Friday night at midnight, and we'd love to have you and your story. Hope you're enjoying the show tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But the fun doesn't have to stop there. If you head over to midnightspookhouse.com, you can download all the old episodes and listen to them as you want. Also, feel free to use the contact link and send us your messages. We might read them on air. Once again, head over to midnightspookhouse.com.
Spook House Radio.
And once more, we have returned. Tonight, we have returned for a worst-case scenario situation. Sadly, if you keep up with the news, this is one you maybe should be considering now. Our very first-case scenario. Megan, would you like to take it? Well, just what is it?
Nuclear war.
Nuclear war, as W might say. Sadly...
That's nothing to laugh about. How can you make me laugh about nuclear war?
But nuclear war is hilarious, just not nuclear. All right, so yeah, potentially we're arguing over button size, nuke button size between presidents, unfortunately with North Korea. So let's put the politics aside. And what happens, Ryan? What's the first thing that's going to happen if they announce it? And I believe it said in an article I read earlier that if North Korea were to attempt to, they might not be successful. Now, okay, but let's assume they will. You have 30 to 40 minutes before their nuke makes it to a major city in the United States.
Shoo, that's all?
You have less than an hour. Yeah, you have a couple of Cosby reruns.
The only thing that, I guess for us, we're on the East Coast. So it's far more...
Dooming us, are you?
That,
no. We'd have more time.
They would,
I don't mean that.
It's far less likely that they would even be able to reach that far anyway.
It is. In general, it'd be unlikely they reach New York, truth be told.
Right. So if it let's humor that they could.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that that's coming. What do you do?
Right.
I don't know, where do you go?
That's it.
I don't
That's
know
it.
of anywhere really that's safe from. Okay, if you're like ground zero, that's it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your Cosby reruns and just wait out the time, I guess. But if you're in an area where you're going to be affected by fallout, I guess.
That's kind of why I was saying he was dooming us.
Thing,
We're a fallout area, essentially. Maybe.
The only thing I can think to do
we survive horribly.
There's nowhere to go around here that I can think of. No real places. There's the Bristol Caverns, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a safe haven. You're not going to want to be in an underground cavern when the electricity goes off down there.
Absolutely true.
So the best thing I can think to do, and this probably, I don't know, I can't really say if this would help me or not, but I've got like an underground basement that, is kind of like my fallout shelter if there was ever to be like a tornado or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know if that's really going to do me any good. But I would probably take the family down there and just hope that somehow we miss the radiation.
That's about all you can do.
I think whatever answers we come up with tonight, I think a big part of your plan is unfortunately going to end up being, to just hope that you're one of the lucky ones,
mm-hmm.
that it somehow passes over you. Unless there are some people out there that
have managed to, snag one of those, nuclear age homes that has like a fallout shelter in the backyard. But that's pretty uncommon around here, I think.
Yeah, it's not us, certainly.
Right. So what are you going to do?
I have absolutely no plan. I just assume us to be in the fallout zone, within the reach, maybe, to where you could potentially survive, but what quality of life? Is that worse than being in the zone that's just basically leveled? Because to me, I think that's maybe worse.
Yeah.
To think of look at Chernobyl, which we need to, and eventually we're going to take a look at Chernobyl in general. It's changed a lot since the disaster, but still, they're still suffering it.
I've read that there's different, there's a lot of misconceptions about how radiation behaves from a blast like that, and where a lot of people get, in trouble and get radiation poisoning is that from the initial wave of the fallout. What they say now is what you should do once the dust has kind of cleared, I guess, is to immediately discard the clothing that you were wearing during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Try, if at all possible, to shower. That's not always going to be likely, but if you can, find some way to wash yourself, and then put on a fresh pair of clothing. Now, if you're so far into, a fallout zone, that's not really going to do you much good. But
right.
The point is, what gets people really sick is continuing to wear the clothing that has been contaminated by the initial fallout.
That's rough. You have to plan for those little things. I mean, I think now maybe it's not a rush out and try to afford a fallout shelter situation, but it is what do you do? Considerate situation,
Yeah. So I think that's
Well, what happens next? So, say we've accepted it, and everybody's praying to their maker or begging for luck or whatever the situation. On a global, or let's say on a country scale, there's 25% of the country untouched, fully functional. It's the outer rim. It's up next to Canada. It's like Colorado. It's North Dakota. It's Texas. It's maybe Arizona. Probably not Arizona. Sorry, Arizona. Not to doom you, but Florida.
Alaska.
It's Alaska. It's Florida. It's Hawaii. So you've got these things left. What did they do? Megan, what do they do? I'm looking at you.
I don't know.
Help us, Megan.
Help us, please. We're drowning here. Well, we're not drowning, I guess. But
I mean, is this? I know we're not getting political, but is this like government dooming? Are we still a country? Will they just do their own thing since they're so far away?
Well, I think there's a part of you that has to. The main heart of the country is going to be gone in this situation. Hopefully that's never true, but
we will be united under John Connor.
I was going to say, are we going to Mad Max it out? What are we doing?
Potentially. Do people band together? She said Mad Max.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So do people band together, or do you think they do become like their own little... do you think even just the little cities band together? Do you think Hawaii bands together? Do you think Alaska bands together? Do you think they reach to each other?
I do not think Hawaii would give a second thought about the rest of the country.
They don't now. Why then, right?
I mean...
All right. Well, Ryan, what do you think then? What's that?
I said Fist of the North Star happens. I think, I don't think that people are, or maybe I'm just being hopeful. I was going to say, I don't think people are as so bad-natured that we would be thrown into like Mad Max or The Walking Dead or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But some people are, and that's it's the handful of people that can make things worse for everybody else.
If anybody survives, though, it'll be them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it always?
So yeah, I don't know what.
I'm just trying to grasp the situation here. I'm not trying to let there be dead air. It's something to think about. And the rest of them won't be so dooming in a reality kind of way. This is one of those, maybe consider a little bit of it.
This
blew up the world.
particular topic got me really somber because you gave the time limit. And my first reaction was going to be, oh, let's go to our friend's house with a basement. And we ain't got time to get there.
Yeah, suppose that the grid goes out and you have no idea on any updates or what's happening. The places that would update you aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
You have no idea if it will reach you, what time it'll reach you, what people are doing about it. You have no idea anything. You're in the jungle all of a sudden, you and your family. I mean, it's a consideration. It is. Hopefully, again, not a realistic one, but I do think that in these times, with the people at the helm that are in multiple countries, it is honestly, go to Yahoo News right now. There's an article about North Korea and America arguing over who's got the bigger nuke button. And they're discussing in the article the realities of it, how long it would take, if it could actually make it, because it would, to re-enter the atmosphere, would it be lethal, and things like that. They're considering it. Why? Because it's potentially possible.
Can we go ahead and move to Hawaii?
For real, or Canada.
Or Canada, yeah.
Somewhere high up in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, there's your grim worst-case scenario. Please, guys, join us for these horrifying situations in chat and on the site. Go... Not only send us your stories, comment on our Facebook page and things. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for...
The world is over. It was going to be a joke, but you're jumping right on it.
Shoo.
Yeah, that's it. Appreciate you guys. But no, it's one of those, the show's not always going to be quite so grim. We're going to have what if robots take over? What if aliens come? I don't know.
What if the cats take over?
Yeah, what if the cats take over now? Yeah?
Meow.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of situations that aren't going to be nearly as grim, but I thought this was the one to start with because it's very relevant. Make plans. Consider things. Maybe don't make plans for the world to end, but consider what you might do if it ever were to. It's not the worst thing in the world to attempt to be the slightest bit prepared. So, with that, let us change the tempo completely and take a quick break. And when we come back, letters to the spook house. Is everybody excited for that?
Yeah.
Is it song time?
Not yet. I mean, it can be. Would you rather? I thought we would do the letters first to make sure that we get them in. We can always skip the song, but we can't skip the letters to the spook house.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, and I know for the record, that's not what Ryan was saying. Our itineraries may have been a little bit off tonight. So let's do that. Let's take a quick break, come back for letters to the spook house, and then we'll have a song if everybody's game.
I'm game.
You're game. All right, Ryan, we'll be right back then. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Let's go rent a movie.
I don't know. I was kind of looking forward to a sub.
I wonder if there's a place where we can have both. VHS.
What does VHS stand for?
Sign says VHS and hot subs. That's awesome.
Smell those meatballs.
Hey, look, foot-long meatball sub and a free movie rental all weekend long for only $5.99.
Dude, look, rent RoboCop 1 and get RoboCop 2 free this weekend only. Rad, man.
You mean for only $200 down, I can get a Sega CD?
Yeah, dude, and a free tuna biscuit.
Don't forget your free copy of Night Trap.
Night Trap? Whoa.
Don't tell Mom.
You boys.
VHS and hot subs at 30 Town Center Drive on the left by the abandoned go-kart track. For more, head over to midnightspookhouse.com.
And he looked up above the treetops, and there it was. He could see it. It was a glowing disc.
Get your 70s, 80s, and 90s fix with Retro After Dark, part of the Spook House Radio Network.
Spook House Radio. Letters to the Spook House.
Yes, indeed, it is Letters to the Spook House time. Who's excited?
I'm excited.
Ryan's not. Are you even here? I think the nuclear fallout got him.
The Men in Black got him.
Ryan, please come back, Ryan. We need you. All right, well, I tell you what, until we get Ryan back, he may have us on mute. He may be doing other things. But until he comes back, let's go ahead and start the Letters to the Spook House. Megan, since you're actually here, and you haven't combusted yet this show, please begin.
Okay, so first letter to the Spook House is from Tina, and she wants to know, why exactly do you think ghosts are scary, personally?
Personally? Did I hear Ryan in the background?
What's
I did.
up?
Now I hear him.
Where you been, Ryan?
Where you been? What did we do that for? That got weird quick.
I had to run to the bathroom.
Oh, that's fine. I kind of figured that, but Megan had to point that out. I wasn't going to ask.
Sorry.
During the break. No, all right, let's go ahead. Now, what makes ghosts personally scary to each of you? Ladies first.
Well, I've not...
I meant Ryan, but go ahead.
Again, I've not had the experience, but I think it's the unknown.
Is it scarier to you maybe because you've not even? It's even more unknown to you, the situation and what you would do.
I would think situationally that I personally would be like, oh, what's going to get me? And not knowing what it was or if it could get me would get me more scared than maybe what was actually happening.
It's like that fear, like it's irrational, but it's real to you at the time.
The fear of the dark.
Yes. Well, that's a good answer. Ryan, what do you think?
You know what's always got me?
Not a ghost.
That whatever they are, because you don't exactly know, like, is this a demon or like a poltergeist? Like, what is a shadow person? Like, what is terrorizing me here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My fear is, whatever this may be, that if it manages to kill you, that it will somehow cast upon you the same fate that it met.
Mm-hmm.
If you die at the hands of a ghost, are you trapped in that purgatory? Or if it is a demon and they end your life, are you, subject to their torture in that plane of existence, I guess?
I've heard demons say, like, they'll take your soul. Does that mean that they will take your soul?
Could be.
Yeah.
And again, it all comes back to, if you hear something bump in the night, what is it that I'm hearing? Or if you're having a ghostly encounter, like, what is it exactly that you're seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this malicious or, just a phantom?
Right.
Non-repeating vapor?
The thing that I think is that, we're terrified, like you, for example, are super terrified of aliens, except aliens are, to us at least, real, and you can touch them, but ghosts
we don't want to.
Could be anything, right? But ghosts could be literally anything that we know nothing about. So that to me is what's scary, is we could be so completely wrong. We're probably not. A lot of accounts, and we probably have a grasp on it at least. But what if we're just completely wrong and it's something just absolutely worse than we already think it is?
Right.
To me, that's the scariest thing. And I mean, I guess that's just another way of saying the unknown. That's the long-winded version of it. But I think, to me, that's what's scariest.
I got you there.
Okay. Well, good. Megan gave me a funny look. I didn't know if she got me there or not. So
I got you there.
She got me there, too. Okay. All right. Well, that was a great question, Tina. It's a very simple question, but it's one that you kind of have to ask yourself, as you go along and learning about the paranormal and the science and the lack of science and spirituality, your answer will likely change over and over. What scares you most about it? So that's a very relevant question to 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, would you like to take question number 2?
Sure. What was the last thing you were thinking about laying in bed that kept you awake? And that comes from Galena Somez.
Galena Somez. I love her work on PV. Is that what she does? I don't know what she does.
Her songs.
Oh, I love your music. I don't have a clue what you do. All right. What was the last thing? I don't know, Megan. What was the last thing that kept you awake?
I don't know. Probably stress about work.
Well, this is, more. I'm assuming something that freaked you out.
I'll have to think on it.
All
what
right.
kind of mystery of the universe were you toiling about in your head?
It was, please don't combust. Please don't combust.
And then we do a commercial about it. Smart.
You want to combust? That's how you combust.
Yeah.
I know.
It's the John Cena method, after all.
What about you?
For me, it's weird. The other night I was laying in bed asking questions like, who first tried meat? That sounds stupid, but like, who was the first people to be like, that looks edible?
It was Ron Swanson.
I wondered,
It was Ron Swanson.
I've wondered that about like chickens.
Mhm.
Like, who saw a chicken like birth an egg and then was like, I'm going to eat that.
You know what? My sister actually sent me a picture tonight that was probably the most clever of all. Who first tried milk, and what else did they try?
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. I think that one trumps most of the others. Most.
I want to think that that was probably an act of desperation. Like, naturally we would be breastfeeding our young, and maybe it was a situation where, a mother couldn't produce milk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we've got this goat or this cow over here, and it's making milk. It's better than nothing.
Don't you rationalize disgusting thoughts, Ryan. Don't you do it. We will not be rational about things like that around here. No, probably. I mean, absolutely. That, they could have been like, that didn't look full 3 days ago, and now it does. Are we supposed to do something about that? Or because it's one of those things that people don't take into account when we talk about like evolution. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, I don't think that part of our evolution is we know to milk cows. So we have to figure those things out for ourselves, regardless of our backstory. So that's, it's always going to be one of those questions, like, who first thought of playing cards to kill time? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. And there's probably an answer to that one, to be fair. Maybe to the cow one, too. Nintendo. Nintendo did everything gaming, right, Ryan?
That's it.
We toil with that every day. We're irritated by things like that. All right, so that's a really great question, and it's got us thinking. Ryan, now what about you?
The last thing I was thinking about that kept me up a little bit. So I was laying in bed looking at my phone, browsing through memes, and I came across this one. It was a picture of a window in space.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a dog like in the like looking out of this window at space. It's just like a window of a house, just like suspended in the universe with a dog in it. And it said, how I feel when my master leaves.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I saw that, and it gets you thinking, doesn't it?
I got to thinking, like, your reality is all based on your perception.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to your dog, who knows where you went?
Right.
To them, you very well may have traveled to the edge of the galaxy.
They think so when you come home. You can be outside on the porch for 4 seconds, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're back!"
Yeah,
they're so excited.
Who knows what they think? It's the same with us. Like,
go ahead.
We have a general understanding of the universe and what we believe the universe is, or our perceptions of it. But what if we're completely off about it all?
It goes to show your weight as well. You may not understand how heavy your weight is and how much you affect others.
Right.
You know, like you're very, very heavy to your dog or the person that you serve at work or the people that serve you. They're very heavy to you. And I don't think we understand how important our good attitudes and our, you know, doing a good job at work, things like that are very important to everything. Yet people are so lax and inconsiderate, and they need to change because it really is important. Now, granted, in the grand scheme of things, maybe in the universe, we're not important, but that's like saying your dog's not important to your job. Maybe that's true, but it doesn't mean your dog nor your job are important. If that,
Right.
I'm not trying to be confusing. I'm trying to say everything is of the utmost importance, be it to a creator, be it to your children, be it to the universe or not. It's very important, you know.
Or is the opposite true? Maybe none of it matters.
Maybe none of it matters.
We are but a speck of dust.
I will say that it definitely matters as far as your surroundings. Everything you do reflects and influences on others. So it definitely matters in that way. But as far as the universe, like you said, we are but dust in the wind. Megan, would you like to say anything?
I would. And
She's giving me a look like, all right,
like
be done.
I've been
Let
trying
me
to
go.
talk. So this is a little irrelevant to the question, but it is something that I have wondered about for a long time now.
You could have answered that question a minute ago, couldn't you?
Well, I didn't lay awake in bed, but okay, so
She doesn't lay awake in bed, I promise. That never happens.
I go straight to sleep.
Yes.
Anyway, so I want to reminisce and tell a quick little story that the both of you already know, but I'm going to tell it anyway because our listeners probably don't. So we were doing a show in Ryan's basement one night, and we just all happened to look up at the window at the same time, and there was a cat looking down at us. And it bothers me. I want to know, why was that cat spying on us that night? What was he thinking we were up to? What do you guys think?
Well, what's more interesting, I think, is that we all, because that's what's most notable about that story is like we all looked up at the same time.
Simultaneous. It was craziness. It was all, whoa, there's a cat.
It was a weird situation and a weird sensation because we were talking and then we kind of hit this spot of dead air that didn't seem natural.
Yeah.
It's like we trailed off on that thought. Something made us trail off on that thought. And then we all looked up to see the cat spying on us.
That is on that episode is actually on midnightspookhouse.com if you'd like to hear it. It's titled Something and Neighborhood Kitties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a neighborhood spying kitty.
And we were literally in a basement, and you'll hear it because I was using one microphone for all of us, and we had the echo of a basement.
That was a fun show.
It was a really fun
great,
show.
yeah.
We sat in the dark in the corner of a basement, and it was really cool. Lots of fun.
I just wonder what was going through that cat's mind when we all caught it. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a little bit derailing.
Probably just like, you guys got any food?
Right. Growl. That was what it would say if it was.
Growl.
Yeah. If approached.
John, I want some Lasaga.
All right. Let's see. All right. This one I feel bad about. This comes from Angel, and she says he or she, Angel, I believe in Spanish is often a male's name. Yes, Angel. I'm waiting on that fairy episode.
Hey, Angel.
Well, we've been putting off the Ghostbusters episode a long time as well. Not on purpose, it happens.
Yeah. We've still got a lot of research to do on that field.
We do,
Yeah,
that's true.
fairies have come up here and there in the past, not the last few episodes, but here and there last year, fairies kept coming up, and I apologize, but we haven't really done our research on that. But a lot of people believe that there's something there.
Yeah, definitely.
They go by different names, you know, will-o-wisps and wisps, river spirits, things like that. So, you know what? This year we'll do our research on that, and we will do that fairy episode. So
we will.
It's coming soon.
You know, guys, I have to admit that tonight, I thought about fairies in story number 2 with the campsite. It crossed my mind.
How so? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious.
Well, just the tiny proportions made me think about the fairy folk.
Okay.
I think one thing that the fairy community has against it is all of the people that seem to fake photos of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they'll take these photos, and it feels like they're trying to force that idea of, you know, like the Tinkerbell fairy.
Yeah.
These are actual tiny humanoids,
Right?
and they may be for all I know. You know, I admittedly I don't know a lot about the subject, but those are the ones that look the most photoshopped to me.
What?
It's like,
why do they
I
pick
saw
on
Tinkerbell.
fairies to Photoshop? I guess because it's easy to grab like Tinkerbell or something. But that
maybe
that doesn't make it right. Stop messing with it. It's like people who pick on religion. When religion picks on you, fine. Otherwise, leave it alone. If anything that doesn't pick on you, don't pick on it either. We don't need to do that.
And I feel like it could just be the want for it to be there when it's not necessarily there. You know what I mean?
Sure, I guess. Potentially. I mean, that's probably true for like ghost faked pictures and things too.
I mean, yeah, and why do you fake Bigfoot? You know? You want to...
It's true, I guess.
I don't know. Anyway, that's a different
No,
topic,
it's
I
not.
guess.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's not bad thinking. So we'll get to it. Bottom line, we will. Now, Megan.
Yes, Dale.
I believe there are more letters to the spook house.
Okay. This next letter comes from Onionhead. And he asks, or she asks, have you ever gotten creeped out while doing the show? Dale?
We have a lot of problems, but no, I don't guess so.
What about the Men in Black episode?
It was a creepy episode. It depends on how you look at creeped out. Was I weirded out and just like, wow, I feel like this is really unsettling? Yes. Circumstantially, where I was in the world at the time, no. But as far as how I felt, absolutely. A lot of this stuff freaks me out. Story 2 tonight creeped me out. So in that connotation, yes.
Yeah.
You guys?
The Midnight Games stories. Those were probably more cool than actually creep me out. But that was a fun episode. Was that the same episode?
I don't know.
Men in Black and like the Midnight Games?
It's neat because we have enough catalog now to not know.
Hey, that's
it
pretty
shows
awesome.
our ineptitude.
We
but
have a season 2.
We're very inept at
But
times.
yeah, the stories that we went over and the accounts of the Men in Black, they were pretty unsettling.
Yeah, they really
So,
were.
I definitely recommend that episode if you want to go back and check that out.
Yeah, we get people to bring that one up a lot. And honestly, we don't push it. People say it a lot, and it reminds us a lot. I mean, that's just one of those that it just constantly comes up for some reason. So maybe it's worth a listen.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a listen. I should have said that.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's definitely worth a listen. But for those, seriously, on Spreaker, you can listen and download, and midnightspookhouse.com. I don't feel like I promote our website enough. I definitely don't post enough, but we're going to change that. Santa Claus got Ryan a really cool keyboard for Christmas, so we both have no excuse not to post more now.
That's it.
All right. So Ryan, there's one more question. Oh, did you have something else to say, Megan?
Oh, I didn't get to answer this question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not to jump on. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say I'm probably the most susceptible to getting weirded out, and I often get creeped out
You
while
get
doing the
creeped
show.
out warming hot pockets. I didn't feel like I needed to ask
I mean,
you.
it's dark in there.
It's dark in the kitchen.
But no, I was definitely going to refer to earlier tonight. Those stories left me feeling uncomfortable. And a lot of times I'll show up at a show late, and so I won't necessarily have pre-read any of our stories. So in the spot, on the moment, I could be creeped out while on the air. I just want to
Even
put that out
in
there.
the moment on the spot.
Or, yeah.
Or
that
at
too.
the spot or the moment.
You know what I'm
Because
saying.
of the No, well, you always pick on me. She's bad. She's not a grammar Nazi, but if you say something wrong, oh my God, don't ever.
Oh my goodness.
She will never let you forget it. But no, yeah, she comes in here late and she'll be like, oh my God, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like during commercials and things.
You're
She
like,
gets
hey,
creeped out.
do you want to read this story? And in my mind, while I'm trying to sound great and read, I'm just like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. So you usually get a natural reaction out of her. She's often creeped out.
Yeah. Thank you, Onion
That's why
Head.
we've got you.
All right, Ryan, there is one more we're going to fill tonight. So if you'd like to take that
I just
one.
want to say, cool Ghostbusters reference, if that's what you were going for with Onion Head.
What was that in the Ghostbusters?
That was Slimer's name before they came up with the name Slimer.
Oh, that's cool.
Which actually makes Slimer sound kind of creepy to me.
Onion
Well, in
Head
the
is
movie,
creepier?
Slimer kind of sucked. So,
The Onion Head Ghost is what they called him.
mhm.
And if you say that, like, don't think of Slimer, but I say the Onion Head Ghost, doesn't that sound creepy?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
I didn't mean to. I was just letting y'all have at it. I didn't mean to let the show die or anything. Sorry. I guess that was my cue to pick up and comment. Slimer was. My daughter's always like, "Why is Slimer so cute in the movie or in the cartoons?" But in the movie, he's just a creep.
He's just a big booger.
Yeah, he pretty much is. He's a big floating booger.
And we'll get more into this on our Ghostbusters episode, but they never intended for Slimer to be that endearing.
Right. That's absolutely the truth, and that's what I tell her. And she's just like, "Well, I like him." Like, well, yeah. After the cartoon series, you do. But as far as the movie goes, you're like, oh, he's just kind of
terrible.
Yeah, he's Stay Puffed and Zool and all those things. Like, they're just bad. It is what
He's
it
like,
is.
He's like gross, and he looks like he smells bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks like a booger.
He does. He's a booger that slimes people. It is what it is.
All right, let's see. Last question. Okay. I was thinking about your cryptid episode, and this might sound a little sci-fi, but what if the Hopkinsville goblins or the Flatwoods monster were some kind of like escaped convicts that had ended up on Earth while fleeing whatever kind of galactic authorities there are out there? And that comes from Chris P.
Crispy. I like it.
So,
Crispy bacon.
Yep.
Is this like Lilo and Stitch? Sorry.
I guess I don't know Lilo and Stitch.
I guess you guys don't think in Disney movies like us girls do, but that's immediately where my mind went with that one. Escaped convict aliens.
Well, with that, what do you think?
When we were talking about those, I think we touched on that as like a weird sort of out there theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are kind of unique experiences. Like when you hear about people's alien encounters, like you rarely hear of the Hopkinsville goblins, like similar incidents, and you certainly don't hear about the Flatwoods monster that often. So they seem to be like these unique, like once in a lifetime kind of events, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they were just like transient monsters, on the run or whatever.
Right. I mean, my first thought is unlikely. If they're criminals and they can leave, they're going to go to other planets before that and probably not get caught. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm seeing these as like, if you can get out of jail, you're not going to stay anywhere near. So now that lends itself perfectly. But you're probably not going to rob your own planet. You're going to go to another planet and rob stuff. And I guess who's to say that's not why they were in jail? I don't know. I kind of, now that I think about it, I'm thinking in circles. So forget it. Forget everything I just said. I don't know. I'm wrong about it all.
They're here to consume your human soul.
It's true. Yeah. I believe that. I think that's what they're up to.
The Hopkinsville aliens or goblins, what have you, they could just be like galactic dicks. They just wanted to mess with some rednecks. It's like, hey, let's go spook those guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
Throw rocks at their house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a definitely interesting take that I don't remember having talked about. So it's neat to go back and think about it. Crispy.
It is crispy. I just like saying that crispy.
Crispy.
Everything crispy is good except for boogers. Like I was reverting back to Slimer, Onion Head there. So whatever. But that's a cool question. I like those really fun. You don't break our brains, which are already broken by this point in the show.
Yep.
It's exactly. That's all she's got. Yep. That's it.
I mean, what if,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fun though.
I don't have any proof that says that they couldn't be intergalactic.
It's true.
That's just as viable as anything we discussed.
If anybody did have proof, it'd be Ryan. And if he doesn't, then that's it.
No, nothing in the little black book about that.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you as always for writing in. It's been awesome. We've got a lot of people who they don't chat, but they listen and they download and they write in, and that's plenty good enough. If you do any one of those, if you don't listen but you write in, that's great. I guess. I don't know. That's weird though.
Well, yeah. Why don't you listen too?
Yeah, they don't want to hear what we have to say. Maybe we're too real.
Maybe it's my nonsense. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? I'm going to try this.
Scary and awkward.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that'll be it for listener questions. So tonight we've got a little tune the tune is called Another Trick Up My Sleeve, and it's by a band called Forget the Whale.
I really thought you said the tuna, so I love that it's the whale.
I already forgot the whale. What whale? Already forgot the whale.
It's the tuna.
It's the tuna. Wait, what? Where are we? I don't know what's going on, but we're going to listen to some music. I guess I should have taken the hint earlier from Ryan, his cue to go to the bathroom. But let's do that now, out of order, as we do everything else around here, and we'll try to work in some spooky stories when we come back. Everybody good with that?
What kind of stories?
I said spoopy ones.
Spoopy.
Spoopy. All right, we'll be right back after this tune. Forget the Whale, Another Trick Up My Sleeve.
What does it take to get a drink in this place? Wearing my heart on my sleeve next to the ace. Suicide clutch, I'm ready to charge. Grab the boat by the handlebars. The devil's days don't ever come for free. Chasing the sirens, for they chase after me. Will you know? Will you know? Will you know? Baby, I got another trick up my sleeve. Still into the kickstart. I got the jack of all trades in my deck of cards. What do you say we get on out of this place? Not gonna make no promises if I stay. Will you know? Will you know? Will you know? Baby, I got another trick up my sleeve. What does it take to get a drink? trick up my sleeve.
I just want to say, I'll tell you what it'll take to get a drink in this place if you're a guy.
What's that?
Money. A girl, on the other hand, could go any way. You could be married and have a guy buy it, or you can buy it yourself. But as a guy, money. All right, Ryan, are you with us still? Ryan is missing again. Ryan, are you with us? Nope, he's not. All right. What's that? What'd you say?
I dig that song.
Oh, okay. Did you hear that song? Because it doesn't sound like you were even there.
Ryan, where you been?
Where you been? All right, now.
I ran into the inside of the spook house.
Inside of the spook house. All right, we got some pretty cool ghost stories tonight, and Ryan is going to read one tonight. I think he's feeling up to it. We all here have allergies, and some nights that doesn't work. By the end of the show, we feel like we've ran a marathon. Ryan, if you'd like, I think it'd be cool if you read a ghost story tonight. What do you think about it?
Sure, that sounds fun.
All right. You know what? I have some tunes for them tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, isn't that kind of neat? We're gonna have some ambiance. We're trying to do a lot of different things, and if you hate it, you need only tell us, because that's the only way we're gonna know. So, without further ado, I'm gonna fire it, and Ryan shall take the first story.
Sounds good. This story is called The Old Piano. When I was in 8th grade, I went on a school trip that was called the Louisiana Tour. It's mostly going around significant sites in southern Louisiana. One of the places we went was Myrtle's Plantation, which is considered to be one of the most haunted places in the country. There are all kinds of stories about the place. But at one point, we were standing in a room as part of a larger group. The tour guide was talking about something. I don't remember what. As I'm standing there, I start to hear what sounds like someone hitting a piano key. After I heard it a couple times, I started to look around to see the source of the noise. I didn't see a piano, but I kept hearing it. So I asked my friends who were standing near me if they heard it. They said no. When I heard it again, I said, there it is again. That they must have heard it that time. They thought I was crazy. So I went back looking around the room. Everyone's eyes were on the tour guide except for one woman. She caught my eye and pointed at me, and then at her ear with a questioning look. I realized she was asking if I heard it too, and I nodded. At this point, the tour guide starts telling a story about a soldier who had died, that he played the piano. Multiple guests reported hearing him playing it. I honestly didn't know what to think. I guess I still don't. I talked to the woman as we were all leaving the room, and she had heard the exact same thing as me, but her husband and son had not.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it is. I always like when there's some backstory to it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's not overtalk it and make it not creepy anymore. Let's move forward.
I just want to say Myrtle Plantation is on my bucket list of creepy places I want to go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely Waverly Hills in Kentucky. That's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
All right, now, Megan.
Yes?
Would you like to take one?
Okay.
All right.
Spring break of 2010. My buddies and I decide to camp out on an island at a local lake. One night, as we were cooking food and drinking beer, a canoe floats by with one guy in it. He asks how we're doing, and we invite him to our island for grilled meat and beers. Being in South Arkansas, we naturally assume that everyone is friendly and wants to hang out. His name was Kurt, and he was super friendly, but really seemed to be sad. We asked him what was up, and he replied, "Oh, nothing really. It's just that my friends are probably worried about me." He looked at me and winked. They'll find out soon enough. That still haunts me to this day. Everyone liked Kurt, and noticing that it was getting dark and he had been drinking, we offered to let him stay with us that night. He declined, saying that he had to get to where he was going, and he seemed very adamant about that. I asked where he was headed, thinking maybe we could give him a ride on a jet ski or something. Kurt ignored the question and said, You boys don't know how lucky you are. He hopped in his canoe and left. We didn't think much about it, but the next morning we woke up early to do some fishing. As we're fishing, a police boat pulls up. The officer asks if we're part of the search party that found the body. He obviously have no clue what he's talking about, so he tells us a story about a young man in a canoe that disappeared last week. Apparently, divers found his body at the bottom of the lake 2 days before. The young man's name was Kurt Clark. This was so freaky for us that we all packed up and left that camp that day.
Jesus.
That's really creepy, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awful. I'm really legitimate. All right, there's you another answer. I'm creeped out right now.
Yeah.
That was good. All right, moving on. I was in the basement watching TV in the dark while my whole family was upstairs. As I'm chilling there, I hear footsteps coming down the basement stairs, and while I can normally tell which family member it is by the cadence of the steps, I didn't recognize these. The footsteps stopped before the bottom of the stairs, so I called out saying, "Oh, ha ha, so scary, I know it's you," thinking it was my brother, someone trying to scare me. I look back to the TV, and the footsteps start again, and I whip my head back to the stairs just in time to see a dark figure go into the side of the room that has glass doors. It's pretty much pitch black, so I assumed whoever it was standing right behind the glass looking at me. That's when I started to get scared, and so I ran to the lights, flipped them on, only to see an empty room. My entire family was still upstairs.
Shoo.
Fun, huh?
Like it.
Yeah. And you know what? The music is sort of setting some mood for me. It's kind of making me more creeped out, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, would you like to tell? You know what? We've done really well on time. We've been organized. Would you like to take another story?
Sure. Let's see. Let's pull another book off the shelf here.
All right.
My dad worked at a mental hospital that used to be connected by an underground passage to a nun's home that was now abandoned. He says that one night he was walking down there when he saw a praying nun. He walked by her and said hello, but she didn't acknowledge him. My dad does not believe in ghosts, but he swears there was a nun down there that night.
Wow.
That's short and terrifying to think about.
Yeah.
God. All right, Megan. Would you like to take the last one for the night?
Certainly. My grandma's house is in a small Midwestern town. A white and old-looking house on a farm, and she even has a chipped wooden Mother Mary nativity in the front yard. You get the picture. The worst is that she has a cemetery about half a mile down the road. Anyway, I used to sleep in the room in the corner on the top floor, my aunt's room, and it had a wooden rocking chair in it. When I was younger, I would wake up because I thought I heard it rocking, to the point where I would wake up my grandma and have to stay in her room. Well, about 10 years later, my mom and aunt and I, during Thanksgiving, were talking about how creepy Grandma's house was. My aunt goes on to talk about how, when she was younger, the reason my mom and her ended up sharing a room was because she thought her room was haunted. She woke up one morning and the rocking chair was about 2 feet closer to her bed. And after that night, it would start rocking on a nightly basis at midnight.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm freaked out tonight. This is good stuff.
I have to question, though. Wouldn't you just move that rocking chair out of the room?
Wouldn't you just burn the house down around it?
I didn't see a spider.
What do you do when you move the rocking chair out of the room?
I don't know.
Does it go with it?
No, I'm saying, what if you wake up and the rocking chair is back?
Mm-hmm.
I would never go back in that room ever again.
Would you even test that theory?
No.
You would you want to know?
I would just think that if the rocking chair appeared to be the problem, wouldn't you get rid of it?
Probably. But then again, it's one of those things. All right.
Still a creepy story. My bad.
Very creepy story, folks. That was terrifying. So, you know what? I liked all those. Again, I don't proofread. Probably should. Remember the weird kid story that was very upsetting for everyone. But you know what? It adds to the suspense of the show. You never know what'll happen. We don't know what's going to happen. But we had fun.
That's right.
We came, we saw, we conquered mildly.
Mildly.
We kind of did a decent job tonight.
And we had a ball doing it.
We did. We had a great time
So-
while mildly doing a professional job, hopefully.
So my question is, are we going to clean this foyer or leave all the dust and spider webs?
Leave the stories behind.
I don't know. Let's shelf it.
We shelf a lot around here, don't we?
We are definitely going to shelve some cleaning.
Yeah.
We're shelvers, and we're not cleaners, so chances are we're not going to do anything about it at all. We'll go to the next room and look for hot pockets to warm in the darkness.
Hot pocket.
Hot pocket. All right, well, it was a fun show. We'll be back next Friday. You know what? We'll be back not tomorrow, but the night after tomorrow for something we call RAD.
Rad.
Yeah, it stands
What does
for...
Brad stand for?
It stands for Retro After... I was going to try to come up with something. I couldn't come up with anything clever.
Dingoes.
I was going to try to come up with something like, Retro After Dingoes. I was trying to come up with a way to make Hot Pockets an R so I could say Hot Pockets After Dark. I couldn't do it.
Awesome.
Rot Pockets After Dark. All right, really, really awesome dudes. That's what it stands for.
That's it.
Yeah. Radical After Dark, and it's going to be fun. We're going to probably do a recap of last year, the good stuff and the bad stuff, and talk about what we're looking forward to this year, aren't we, Ryan?
That's it.
In season 2.
Season 2 of Rad. Yeah, I guess that'll be season 2 as well. If this is season 2, that must also be season 2. I'll Podcast on Your Grave is still on the shelf.
It got shelved?
It did. For the time being. It was a struggle every time we did it, and it never went as we'd hoped. So, for the time being, yes. But we will bring that back. We are going to. We really, truly are. I tell you what, you guys say your final pieces, and then I'll wrap up with all the boring crap that nobody else wants to say, and then we'll get out of here for the night. So, ladies first, Megan, if you'd like to.
I'm just going to say that I'm really excited to be back. I'm glad that I got to be here for the whole show for the season 2 premiere.
And you will next week, I believe, yes?
Yes. And thank you for joining us in the foyer. Next week, you'll find us somewhere else.
Yeah, you will.
With the candlestick and the...
With the Hot Pocket in the kitchen room.
That's it, in the kitchen room.
It was Megan with the Hot Pocket in the foyer. All right,
that
Ryan.
sounds like me.
All right, guys. I think we're at the end of our rope, so it's time.
That sounds terrible. Is that because of nuclear war? Say it isn't so.
Here you go. No, it's
Okay.
not so.
Good, okay.
Ooh, wait. Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yes, you sure can.
So
Is I'm sorry the other thing you wanted to say?
No,
or-
not at all. So I was totally multitasking and I Facebooked while we were on the show, and
She
I
was
saw that
unprofessional.
North America this week is going to be colder than Mars.
Neato.
I thought it was
Wow,
neato.
that's great news.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Unfortunately, not nearly as quiet and whatever. All right, Ryan, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think it's time to lock up the spook house and head home for the night. So thank you for hanging out with us here tonight. And I hope we'll see you again next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out in the foyer. It's only the entrance, meaning it's only the beginning. There's much more to the basement, the catacombs, and the hallways of this spooky old place. But until then, head over to MidnightSpookhouse.com for past episodes and new upcoming things. Spreaker, which you can get the app, or Spreaker.com, you will find us. You may be here now, you may not, but you can find it on the interwebs or in the application for iOS or Android. We're on Twitter at the Midnight Spook House, or no, just at the Spook House. Sorry, and we're rusty. And on Facebook, the Midnight Spook House. There we go. I got it out. For me, good night. I love you, everyone, and please do return. Because we're gonna. I was gonna bring up nuclear war again, but I'm not gonna do it. And I'm saying nuclear on purpose, so it's not nearly as scary. Nuclear. Think of it that way, everyone. Going into next week, nuclear is not scary. Good night.